Hello, Circus Peanuts. PsyStarcraft here with some more fantastic StarCraft 2 action. It is going to be a custom 1 versus 1 against a friend of a fan. Every once in a while, someone will come up to me and be like, "Hey, Psy, you want to play a friend of mine, or you want to play me, or something like that?" And I'll be like, "Sure," depending on what I'm doing. I always like playing custom 1v1s because there's more good-natured. You know the people you're playing. You can talk about the games afterward. You don't win or lose ladder points, and it's a lot more relaxed. And it's kind of what I like about StarCraft 2. You guys probably understand that I'm a bit turned off by ladder. It just gets my gigantic rock-hard dong soft as a gummy worm. But still tastes like a gummy worm, as you know. Anyway, it's a ZVP on Cloud Kingdom. And this game, I'm really going to be trying the Stefano style. Now, I wrote down roughly, after watching Stefano's replays, I wrote down roughly what his build is. So as that unfolds, I'll be kind of mentioning what it is. I've seen a few posts online, but they weren't very good in that they had the timing of the builds, but not the supply, because you can't always rely on the timings. Because you might get pyloned out, someone might be aggressive, stuff like that, and of course you can't really always rely on the supply, but I feel like it's more of an indicator of when you do need to do what. But anyway, it's going to be a 14 pool. First of all, I tried to send out this drone to kind of decoy this probe, and I really want him, when you're doing Stefano style, you'd like to take a 15 or 16 hatch, but you're most likely going to get pyloned out. But hopefully, if they pylon out your natural like they do here, they'll also pylon out your third, because you're going to immediately send your drone to the third base and try to get a hatchery down there. And, you know, we're probably going to see him pylon this out as well. And it looks like he'll be doing that. Luckily, my drone has more life than his probe, so he's not going to be able to poke away at it. Still trying to pretend like I have money to build a hatchery, and there goes the second pylon. So that's just fine. He's spending 200 minerals to delay an expansion for quite a long time, but you're going to have lings out soon. Your 14 pool is just fine. So after your 14 pool, ideally you want to go 16 or 17 hatch. If you're not able to, you can get 2 to 6 lings, and depending on what your opponent's doing, you might actually want to send some lings at him to make sure he goes cannon before Nexus or something like that. And you can see here, he's actually going Nexus before cannon. So in this situation, when I'm getting 6 lings, it'd be best to send 4, maybe even all 6, probably just 4, to his base. That's what this Overlord should be scouting. If he was going directly up here, he'd be scouting that. And then just use 2 to break down the pylon. But it looks like in this case, I am just using 6 to break down the pylon because my Overlord was out of position. So 14 pool, 16 or 17 hatch. If that doesn't happen, pump out 2 to 6 lings. Send lings to his base if he does not have a cannon producing. These lings could have been inside of his base right now. They can still just kind of run by here if I do it right. And then throw down a hatchery. Now you're going to want to get both of your queens immediately. So I've got 1 queen out. I'm getting a 2nd queen. And of course bust down this pylon as well, because you're going to be going for something around a 24-ish hatch. Now, of course, the timing, or the 24 might be a little bit late. Looks like I was at 25 just because he did pylon me out, and of course you don't have to follow it to a T. You can just get kind of close to it. And there it is. And you're going to want to get a 3rd queen as well. So once this expansion finishes, I'm going to be producing a 3rd queen from here. So the queen from here that I produced extra is going to be going here, and then an extra queen from here is going to be going here. It's a nice little... Whoa, I actually do get a run by. Looks like he was able to pick off 1 ling from that cannon, and not the best cannon positioning. Going to be working on these probes. Taking out 2 probes already. You got to be careful with that probe microman. There we go. That's what you want to do. Taking out a 3rd probe, only losing a single ling so far. If we check out the workers killed, I've killed 3 workers to his 0. And not only that, I've got tons of scouting information for as long as I want. So you're not going to be getting any gas until 45 supply. 2 more probes going down. This is not looking good for the fluxPylons. He is a high master player, so a lot of toss. You know, they just don't really know how to handle lings inside their base because they don't have any units yet. He does have a zealot here. He needs to be sending that zealot up there, though. He does not need to be walling that off right now. But that's what he's going to choose to do. Another probe going down. Now 6 probes killed with just 6 lings, and this is why running by is so damn effective. You got to send those initial lings if you see there is a late cannon on the way. So I've killed 6 probes with just 2 lings. Will I get a 7th? No, it doesn't look like it. This ling's going to be running back. Maybe get some scouting information. But anyway, as I was saying, you want to get 2 gas at around 45 supply. So I'm at 45 supply now. And look at this harvester count, man. Even if I didn't kill 6 probes, I'd still be up by quite a few. So there's the 2 gas. Doing little drone transfer here to my 3rd base. Looks like I didn't produce a queen at my natural, which I should have. I'm actually producing it at my third, and I should actually get a fourth queen for some creep spread, because I know Stefano's creep spread is freaking insane. Now 45 to 31, and around 54, which is what I'm at now, is when you want to get a Roach Warren, Evo Chamber, and consider getting your lair as well a little bit after that. Lair comes around 66. I know this is just a bunch of numbers I'm throwing out at you guys, but you get the idea. So there's the Roach Warren. Should see an Evolution Chamber pretty soon. My opponent looks like he's going for a robotics facility, so a bit unusual. Usually you see Stargates or you see massive gateways out of this Forge Fast Expand build. There's my lair around 64, 63, which is a little bit early. You might want to wait a bit, but your first 100 gas is going to go towards your lair. Your second 100 is going to go towards your metabolic boost, and then your third 100 is going to go for some kind of upgrade. Now, I'm not too clear on what kind of upgrade Stefano gets. Is it attack, range, or armor? I mean, melee attack, range attack, or armor? Not 100% sure. But I know he does start some kind of upgrade around now. As you can see, it's almost timed with when I have that 100 gas. So anyway, once the lair completes, it's pretty much going to be Roach Infester. That's kind of what he does. Roach Infester Link for quite a while. And the Infestation Pit allows him to transition to the Hive very easily. And he also expands very fast. Now you can see as I'm getting my lair is also when I got my third and fourth gas. And from here on out, I just kind of played it by ear because, you know, in the late game, the game tends to change depending on what your opponent's doing. And you're not always just going to want to play super mechanically. So you just got to play it by ear. Now at 70 Harvesters, not bad at all, man. 70 Harvesters, 9 minutes and 30 seconds into the game. And not too short on units. And see, even if he was going mass gateway, he'd just now be getting his first mass warp in. And you can see he is actually getting quite a few gateways here. Killing 6 probes, slowed him down a lot. So this game isn't a prime example of, you know, Protoss timings versus this kind of timing for a Zerg player. But it's not too bad. He's actually getting Colossus, so he's rushing to pretty fast Colossus. Where's his robotics bay at? All the way down here. Maybe not the best location. It's easily scouted by overlords. If you're a Zerg player, you're almost always going to have an overlord around here scouting out the gas. So if I had a robotics bay, I'd try to stick it like somewhere around here. But he's actually getting lucky, not scouting it for the time being. See, a lot of upgrades on the way. Overlord speed, pathogen glands, roach speed, and you're basically in the mid game. You're going to be carrying yourself with Roach, Ling, Infester. Infester's so damn good against Blink Stalkers. And if this guy's going for Colossus this damn early, he's not going to have a lot of other units because, you know, robotic bays are so expensive. Colossus are fairly expensive. I mean, they're worth it. But he's not even on a third base. So the cool thing about the Stefano build is it does go Hive Tech pretty fast. You can see I'm taking a fourth base, taking those gas as well, because that's really what you need as a Zerg player. And I've got a nice little army on standby. Now, a lot of you are probably thinking, well, why do you have an army? You should just keep building drones. Even if you're not at your max supply of drones ideal, which I'm pretty much there, 80 to 90 in this build might be a little better. Even if you're not at your max supply, you still want to have some units on standby just so you don't have to produce all of your army at once in response to attack. You just have to produce a little bit more. So as we can see, the lair's on the way as well. Well, a Spire should be on the way, but I don't see a Spire. But the reason you build a Spire at the exact same time as a lair is because here you can see, or as a Hive, a Hive takes 100 seconds to complete, as does a Spire, so they will complete at the exact same time. That Nexus going down, his army a bit out of position, and this is kind of what you want. Deny third base, discourage any kind of attacks from your opponent until you're able to reach that Broodlord mark. Now I'm throwing down the Spire. That Spire is late. It needs to be started at the same time as the Hive. This base is trying to get up and running. 84 Harvesters, I like that a lot better. 100 seconds. 100 seconds, and it looks like I am going for melee upgrades. That's going to help out the Broodlings a lot, it's going to help out the Zerglings a lot, and of course the Roaches will have armor from it. Just now popping out a couple of Infestors. Now you don't want to overproduce Infestors because you're going to need a lot of that gas for Broodlords, but luckily this kind of build allows you to expand quite a bit, so I've got a fourth base up and running with 84 Harvesters still. The Protoss trying to take a third base, but his army is actually quite meager. I don't know if he's not producing probes. It looks like he is producing probes every now and then. Now going for a Twilight Council as well, but not a lot of production out of him. 3 Colossus, and you know, Colossus so damn good, especially with force fields. Looks like he's moving out. He's got 5 sentries, full energy. against just a few infestors, and he sees this. Now, with this type of timing, it's almost ideal for your opponent. You can see my Spire was late. Even if it wasn't late, I'd still be on the way to a greater Spire, and this is a great timing for fluxPylons. And when you only have Roach Infestor, you've got to rely on two things. You've got to rely on some kind of pincer attack. Well, maybe this too. You got to rely on some kind of pincer attack. 2, remaxing with roaches or lings or hydras or infestors. I mean, whatever you see necessary. And 3, stalling for as long as you can. Stalling for those broodlords. Also, you know, some corruptors would have been nice, but again, my Spire was late, so we're not going to be seeing any corruptors. And these force fields, while they look bad for me, are actually kind of helping me stall. Now, this is not what I want to do. This is not what you do. Do not ram your roaches into force fields. I'm getting some good fungal damage. You can see all the stalkers have no shields whatsoever. But do this. I should have done this much earlier. I should have... Oh, no. Infestors. Oh, get the fungals off. Oh, my goodness. I should have backed off a lot sooner. He's actually doing tons of damage to these Colossi. 5 kills, 10 kills, 4 kills. These roaches will kill a couple more stalkers, but he does eliminate the army. 26 roaches on the way. More reinforcing, some from the back. Nice creep spread, at least connecting the bases, not too far extended out though. And it looks like I am able to shoot these Colossi away. Finally some Corruptors on the way. These Corruptors should have come sooner. I should have seen this attack coming. I should have produced some Corruptors, and that would have made it a lot easier. A world of easy would have been in for me. In for me? That doesn't even make sense. But anyway, three things that I said. Stalling, I didn't really do. I just tried to ram my roaches down his throat. Pincer attack, I didn't do either. Just think if I had like 20 roaches back here, what his Colossus would have done. They would have nowhere to go. He'd have to use double the force fields back here. So, not really taking my own advice. And 3, I did remax fine, and luckily that was enough to route the attack. So, good defense right there. Could have been better. Now, broodlords are on the way. I'm on 5 base. He's just now taking his 3rd base. And when you're on T3, you don't have to worry about a Protoss taking a 3rd base or a 4th base. You've got T3, and he's nowhere near a mothership, so I'm not too worried about it. Hopefully by the time he does get a mothership, you're so macroed up and upgraded up that you can just kind of spread your units, trade armies, and then remax. I know it sounds easier than it actually is, but that's kind of the ideal situation. And you can actually see Stefano loves getting a 2nd Spire, and that's exactly what I did here. It is expensive. I mean, it's more expensive than just getting another Evo chamber, 75 minerals compared to 200, but I feel like it really does increase the effectiveness of broodlords. It's not something you see every day, upgrading your air units, but I'm going to be choosing to do that. Harvester count still at 84, throwing down some spines. 1, to defend those bases, of course, against little skirmishes, little warpins, and 2, to free up some supply. Those bases feeling pretty safe right now. I am maxed out, so I'm going to be pressing the issue. I don't want my opponent to max out, number 1. And number 2, I don't want him to get a mothership. And if he does get a mothership, I don't want to find his mothership when he's right here. I'd rather find it while I'm attacking. So down goes those rocks. And there's one thing missing from this composition, and that is right here, the Infestor. Infestor, Corruptor, Broodlord is really the end game of the Stefano build, and I have not a single Infestor. Just think if I killed off, 5 or 6 roaches and got 5 or 6 Infestors, how much more powerful this army would be. Believe it or not, Infestors and roaches cost the same supply, and he blinks in with the Stalkers, catches 2 Broodlords off guard. Looks like he's going for a 3rd Broodlord. Is he going to be able to reach it? He has another blink up in just a second. Some Zealots coming in as well. These Colossus tearing up all these roaches. Down goes another Broodlord. And if I had Infestors, every single Stalker here would be dead. But no, I don't have Infestors, and it looks like he's going to actually clean this up. One Corruptor just kind of flying around like a silly nanny. Going to be trying to finish off that Colossus. Yeah, it might actually do it. Baller Corruptor finishing off that Colossus. Now he's just going to chill here. And he's not even going to go down. Oh my god, this Corruptor's going to survive forever. Oh no, Corruptor. Oh, sad, sad day. Down goes my army. But that's exactly what you wanted the Zerg army to do, is trade. Now, that didn't have to be a trade. I could have just full-on won if I had, 5 or 6 Infestors instead of 5 Roaches. Maybe I could have waited for a couple more Broodlords, too. I only had 5 Broodlords. But that's exactly what you want to do, especially when you know you're on more bases than your opponent. He's just got this base right here. It's just coming up. It's not even mining. I know he doesn't have this base. I know he doesn't have this base. So I know he's on 4 bases, and he's still working on getting his 4th base going. Meanwhile, I was able to remax 198 to 127, and we are seeing 2 Broodlords, 6 Broodlords total, and now I'm kind of reaching that composition that I want to hit. I overproduced Zerglings just kind of out of reaction, I suppose. I guess I'm used to playing Terran opponents where you really want to remax significantly with Zerglings. But now I'm kind of reaching that point where you've got Infestors, you've got Broodlords, you've got Corruptors, you've got tons of bases, you're even taking another base, throwing down those gas right away. Still at about 80 Harvesters, which is a good number. And he just, despite having enough probes and quite a bit of economy, he just can't remax soon enough. Protoss armies are fairly expensive, and he's only got 5 Colossus and 17 Stalkers, so this army, you gotta say, man, this army looks a lot more scary than my last army, even though there's like a third as many roaches, just because I've got Corruptors added into the mix, and I've got 4 Infestors added into the mix. Now let's watch how much more effective this is than the last one now. He probably doesn't have the same army, but we'll just see here. This Archon is going to go down before it can even complete. Blinking onto these Broodlords. Now you want to fungal, and then you want to kite with your Broodlords. I'm kiting a little bit late, but look how much damage these fungals do. All these Stalkers right there in the back, they were damaged by fungals, his lings swarming in, and just look how much more one-sided that was. He was only able to kill 2 Broodlords because he couldn't do another blink in. The Corruptors just destroyed these Colossus, and that really allows Broodlings and Zerglings to do so much more damage, and he was just kind of blown out of the water right there. But ended up with 2-2 upgrades and 2-1 on my air, so upgrades a very cool thing to get even for your Spire. And I hope this game taught you a little bit. This is against not the greatest opponent. He's a pretty solid master player, but it kind of shows you how early your economy can just go crazy. I got my 4th base so fast and just remaxed. But anyway, that's all. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Thanks for watching. Penis.